Happy New Year, everybody. After all, this is my first Facebook Live in the new year, 2019. And I wish you and people that are close to you many blessings. And for you watching this, for you personally, I hope that whatever you envision for yourself, may that come true. And in light of that, of course, we'll take that next leap into the typical New Year's resolutions. So this is a time of year where many of us take the time to just chill, tune inward a little bit, maybe analyze the past year and look into the future and decide we need to change a couple of things. So I want to focus on that today and why the typical New Year's resolutions don't really stick and why I don't really believe in them. So I'm going to share two strategies with you today on how you actually can make that change that you want to see last and succeed for you. I'm Kirstin Nussgruber from Kirstin'sCancerCare.com, and what I want to focus on now is most of us have something that we are not satisfied with. So we take the time at the end of a year to reflect, look back, and it's easier to do at this time of year pretty simply because that's when most people are doing that. It's kind of marks, we've defined that. We mark it at the end of a particular year, starting a new year. It's a good time to sit back and reflect and figure out, what do I need to change? What I see, though, happening most of the time, and I'm as guilty as anyone else is, so are many of my friends and people that I simply know, is that we set a far-reaching goal. We say we want to achieve something and we use the umbrella effect. So we create this umbrella mode and reach kind of high, create a platform. We want to be more fit. We want to lose weight. We want to eat more healthy. And then what we often fail to do is understand that we need to break that down into manageable steps. And that's really where the time needs to be spent to plan this out a little bit for us. So in order for an umbrella to work, we need to open it up and use it in the right moment. And it's the same kind of steps that we sometimes need to do. So if we have a decision that we need to take, and I'm going to use myself as an example, if I may, one of the things that I need to focus on more this year, and that has kind of niggled at me throughout last year, is that I didn't spend enough time in doing the courses that I purchased. So these are online educational courses, further education courses for myself that I wanted to, I really was committed to doing, and I didn't find the time to do it. And we'll talk about time a little bit later as well. But let's right now just focus on the overall first of strategy, the kind of goal that we set. So for me, that is, I want to further educate myself. I want to actually spend the time to learn the courses that I've been learning. And for you, it might be, I want to lose weight, or I want to actually spend more time cooking healthy meals, or I want to become more fit and exercise more. So that's great, but it's not gonna, you're not gonna follow through on it because you haven't nailed it down or whittled it down to an actionable step where you can say, this is what I can do. And it depends on you, but we need to really go down, peel off the layers of what this activity entails. All right, so in my case, wanting to educate myself, first of all, I have the courses, I've bought them. Now I need to find a dedicated time to do it. And that's when the next strategy pops up, and that is finding the time, because let's face it, when we sit down and say, I want to do more of this, it involves an activity that requires time, and most of us don't have that extra time. So what we really want to do is allocate time that we don't have. Well, is that really how we need to look at it? We will find some time if we sit down and figure out, maybe there are things in my life that I need to delegate to somebody else, maybe in my work team, maybe in my family, maybe to my spouse, or maybe to myself. Maybe I'm spending too much time with certain activities or squandering a bit of time that I could allocate to creating that extra buffer that I need to include this particular activity. So what do I need to do to include a particular activity? I need to make sure that I have an environment in which I can do the learning. I am not interrupted while I do this. I can fit it in easily. I can start and finish maybe. I have enough time to do it. So there are lots of little nuances to that. If you are someone who maybe wants to become more fit or engage in more activity, more exercise, you've got to figure out what type of exercise am I going to be doing, wanting to do now. How can I fit that into my schedule? Is that something that I need to go out for? Do I maybe join a class? Do I need to be motivated by people around me? Is that what's going to really achieve this for me? Or is it maybe something that I need to do at home? Maybe get an app that I can use in which I join a class virtually. That's what many people are doing these days as well to make this exercise part more happen. So in other words, take your bigger strategy and create actionable steps that you can actually follow through. So plan it down to the last little detail, and then that's a little step that you need to take. I am going to join an exercise class on a Wednesday evening because that's the time that I can allocate. And that's all that you do. We know if we want to do more exercise that we really need to do more than one activity a week, but let's just whittle it down to that one actionable step. For me, in doing my courses, it's a similar way that I approach this is by saying, I need to dedicate one day a week. In my schedule, I have a very structured schedule through my work. I need to dedicate one day a week in which I'm going to find some time to sit down and in an uninterrupted way do this course, not checking any emails. I'm not available for consults, not available for ringing phones or even interruptions by family members. I'm just focusing on learning and educating myself. And I need to now find the time of day in which I'm able to do that. Then we also look around delegating the time, but time has another element to it. And that's really if we want to change a certain habit. You know, some of us will say, I hate when I do this and I want to create or put myself onto a different path. We have to allow this time in which we do this new activity in order to form a new habit. And generally it's 21 days, which is kind of the minimum amount of time that we need to do a new activity on a very regular basis every single day in order for that new activity to become habitual. And what does that mean, forming a new habit? It means that we don't have to schedule it. We don't have to plan for it in our calendars or set reminders that we remember to do it. Otherwise, we forget to do it. It means that it becomes second nature, that it becomes part of our normal workflow or just a daily flow, that we don't have to really create the extra space to do it. It just becomes part of what we do. And that's at least 21 days in which we expose ourselves to this new activity on a regular basis. So for example, take that exercise class again. Even if we started and we're struggling because we're not that fit, or we might not like the instructor very well, or we find that it really is a struggle to manage that, to get there on time, we've cut the time too tight, stick with it for at least 21 days. If it means that you are wanting to cook more healthy, then for example, you decide, all right, on one day a week, I'm going to try out a new recipe just to get that inspiration in. Stick to that. For 21 days, one day a week, you're going to decide on using a new recipe. And of course, you decide that beforehand so that you have the ingredients ready as well. Stick to it for 21 days at least. For me, in my learning my courses, I said I'm going to decide on one day a week. I'm going to do this, and it's probably going to be an evening for me. I haven't actually decided that yet, but that's happening this week in my first January week. And then for 21 days, that's what I'm doing. I'm actually going to schedule that time on my calendar so that I don't plan anything else, so that I don't fall into the trap of not remembering what I want to do because I'm still in this habit forming period, that I need some crutches to help me remind myself of what I have committed myself to do. I'm actually going to put that time in my calendar. And then again, I want that to become a habit, and I want that time slot to be filled in with other educational or reading material. That's often what I need to do as well, read up on the latest research, and I can use that time slot. And suddenly you've created that extra space in which to do these things. So those are really two strategies I think that you can apply to help you make the changes that you want to succeed at. Is that we reach too high, let's whittle that goal down to an actionable step and just start with that one thing that you want to be able to achieve that is going to allow you to make it happen. And then you commit at least 21 days to that, which is a 3-week period. It's not a long time, in which you literally do that every single day, because you're trying to ingrain this, you're trying to make this a habit. And the third thing with the time issue is we always say we don't have enough time. You actually do when you sit down and figure out, where can I save some time? Where can I delegate things out? Where can I just also do a rain check on my own activities? Am I spending too much time maybe on social media? Maybe that needs to be a little bit more more of a dedicated approach time-wise as well, because before you know it, 45 minutes have gone by, and that's exactly the 45 minutes that you needed to actually attend an exercise class, for example. So that's helped me over the years. Again, I don't start my new year with these New Year's resolutions, but I do start my new year with trying to figure out what do I want to change and improve on. What are the things that I've kind of wanted to, or I got annoyed about over the past year, and I just kind of want to put myself back on track again. And I'm sure you can find some things for you to do as well. So I hope this was a little bit helpful, and I really, once again, wish you a really awesome, vibrant start to this new year. Remember, we are worth the attention that we give ourselves. If we focus on self-care, that is a form of self-empowerment. It moves us away from the self-sabotage that we often do to ourselves when we become too critical, when we become too judgmental, and when we simply don't pay attention to what our needs are. And in particular, as women, we have that. We look out for everybody else. We want to organize everybody else, and we fail to apply that same attention to detail to ourselves. And that is a shame. We need to change that. And we need to always create that bit of space for some empowering self-care. And we are worth the attention that we give ourselves. So once again, have a great new year. That's all I want to share today, just to share with you. Hopefully that'll help you set yourself up for a really successful 2019. If you want more inspirations and inspiring reads, check out my blog. My website is Kirstin'sCancerCare.com. Lots of good information there as well. My Facebook page, of course, lots of posts there too. I hope for engagement. I'd love to hear about what your challenges are. My 3 core values for this new year are authenticity, integrity, and compassion. That's kind of what I came up with, as that's the core of who I am, who I want to be, and how I want to show up for everyone in my life, including my clients as well. And it's a two-way street. So any feedback from you on what you need, what support you need, what direction in terms of information that I can supply you with, why don't you write down in the comments there and let me know? And maybe next time you tune into Facebook Live, that's exactly the topic that I'll be talking about. So take care for now. Remember, Kirstin'sCancerCare.com, my website. Have a look around there. If you want a free assessment call as well, you can book that right there. So take care for now.